an emulsified sugar scrub with castor oil.
Castor oil is so wonderful, so why not make a castor oil sugar scrub? But castor oil really can't be used by itself. So, and we want it to be emulsified. We don't want all the oil rising to the top.
Now you can absolutely just mix equal amounts of castor oil and sugar for a sugar scrub to use immediately, but it will separate if you try to store it.
So we're going to start out with our castor oil. And to thin it down a little bit, we're going to add some avocado oil. And we've got our wax, which that is what is going to make it emulsified. And we've got a little beeswax. And we need some cocoa butter. This is the natural cocoa butter with all the scent with it. And I like to buy it in little wafers because it's so much easier to measure. Okay, so we are just going to let that melt. Okay, my oils and waxes are completely melted. So I'm going to take it off my heat. You'll notice that I'm putting it on a piece of cloth to dry off the bottom because I don't want any water to happen to accidentally get into it. Now I need to let this cool off to 120 degrees. Let's see. Okay, so it really is under 120 degrees. So I'm ready to add my preservative. Now the reason we have a preservative in this because we know we're going to be using it in the bathroom. We're going to stick wet fingers into it. Your oils and waxes and your sugars, of course, don't grow mold. But you put 1 drop of water, half a drop, you are going to create mold. So we're going to get that in there. I've got my lavender. Now in this recipe you really want to use essential oils. You don't want to use any synthetic fragrances. Because why use some expensive, good quality castor oil if you're going to ruin it with something synthetic? So we're going to get that in there. And then of course we need our vitamin E to preserve the oils. Like I said, oils don't grow bacterial mold, but they do go rancid. Okay. So I'm going to stir this for about 2 minutes. And then I'm going to go put it in the cooler and get it down to 80 degrees. Okay, I got this down to a little under 80 degrees. And now I'm going to whip it until it's like a pudding-like consistency. Okay, now that took about 5 minutes. You can see how thick and creamy it is. Okay, now we're going to start beating in our sugar a little at a time. I like to turn the mixer off between putting it in there because I don't want the air from the beater blowing the sugar all over my table. I think that is well mixed. Get a little of that off the beater. And now it's a matter of putting it into a container. Now, you might be thinking it needs to go into a glass container because everyone's talked about how wonderful castor oil needs to be in a glass container. But this is going to be in the bathroom. And I just don't trust glass in the bathroom. See how creamy that is? Kind of made a mess. But we'll give all this a chance to set up and check it tomorrow. Another alternative would be to store it in a glass jar and then take out a little bit at a time and put in a plastic container to keep in your bathroom.
Now if you store it in a glass container and only remove a little at a time for personal use, you may totally leave out the preservative, the Optiphen Plus. Now this texture may seem a little dry to you. The warmer the environment, the softer and more liquid it will become. Now, if you keep your castor oil sugar scrub in a cooler environment and you find the scrub too hard or too dry for you, leave out the beeswax and use shea butter instead of cocoa butter. And you might be an herbalist if you make castor oil sugar scrub. And I am Carolyn Gibson. Like, subscribe, and share so you do not miss my next recipe for castor oil lotion. And you will find the recipe ingredients in the description bar below.